This is my rubbing stick and also my template as well for marking, for other operations. Yeah, what it is here that this is the same, that there indicates the full length. And that mark there will indicate a centre for the reed. And these two marks here, as you'll see later, will indicate a part that I'm scraping in between, you see. And that mark there, by the way, indicates the nib. Well, what I do is I use waterproof silicon carbide, or wet or dry as it's called, and because you can get this in grades. And the grade in this one is 120 grit. You know, that's the size of the grit. It's pretty aggressive. It works quite well. I mean, if you're not quite confident that you know, it might be too sharp, you can use 180 grip. You can even use 240 grip if you want to, you see. Anyway, that's smoothed out there now, nice and smooth. And I'm just going to get back here again to check that the width is right. The width should be 11 millimeters. Now, it's showing about 11.5. So let's just use the rubbing boards that I've got here now. Two rubbing boards there, one at 120, one at 180. So I'll use the 120 one now and rub it along to get the sides nice and parallel and the right width. Well, that's exactly right, down to 11. That's about 11.5. So I've got to do a bit more rubbing on that half of the cane. There we are. That's it. So that's pretty well 11 millimeters along the total length. Now I've got to cut the nib. So this is where I use these end cutters, and the nib is 9/16 of an inch in. I mean, you can mark it if you want to with a ruler. You know, you can just place that on there and measure it in. There's 9/16 there, you see. And just make a little mark in the center there. And what I'm going to do is to cut down like so. Can you see that little nib shape there? Well, I'll use that for this side, but I can do it by eye for the other side. There. In fact, I've got to turn it over, so I'm just doing it by eye anyway for that side there. And this. There we are. So that's the nib cut on both sides there. Right, little bit too sharp on the corners there, I think. So what I do is I just use the rubbing board once again, either the smooth one or the rough one, just to rub it off like that. I'm holding it with my thumb in the middle like that, and with two fingers behind, just as though I'm playing the fiddle. You know, just like that, and just give it a rub. I put my first finger on that nib, fourth finger on that nib, give it a good old rub like that. Actually, it's not too big a rub, just enough to smooth it off at the ends there, right? And then, because this edge is a little bit too sharp and mightn't meet up properly when I fold the two things together, I'm just going to give it a slight rub on the finer rubbing board. That's the 180 grit rubbing board, or 240 grit, whatever you're happier with, just to give a little bit of a smooth edge there, so that they'll go together and be nice and airtight, and they won't sort of slide over each other.